All right, we are live. It is Thursday night. It is a crazy Thursday night in the United States. We're on here tonight to, I think the best topic tonight is to talk about the climate in the United States right now. But first I want to introduce my two panel guests, Chris Gonzo Warren and Mantidote Gene. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. I mean, it's, you know, for as crazy as it is out there, it's kind of just a Thursday and chill for me. So also just reflecting on a lot of what's going on. So
yeah, you can't help but have what's going on in the back of your mind at all times. But on my end, all things are great. Just had some sushi. I got a roof over my head. I got plenty food to eat, and can't complain too much on that.
Yeah. Well, I see we got Drew in the chat. Drew, I'm going to throw a link in the chat right now. So if you want to join in, you are welcome, or anybody else watching. And there it is. Yeah, I think what we had going on yesterday, I think it should make a lot of people think. And I think there were some bad moments. I also think there were some good moments, some great moments. Now, I think there's a lot of people that me and Gonzo were talking earlier that jumped ship yesterday. And I don't think that's respectable. I think that's I guess you would call it a turncoat. You know, I think a lot of people think as a Trump supporter or somebody who voted for Trump is kind of like a cult member, and that's the farthest thing from the truth. For me, it was a change for the better. Do I think Trump is a little outrageous sometimes? Sure, I do. And I do question everybody, and I question everything that Trump says and Trump does. And I think that's important. But I think there are way more followers and people who are left because of not wanting to associate with Trump. Basically, I guess you would call them the never Trumpers. You know, that's another thing. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. That's for sure. So I'm going to bring in Paul Gavin right now. Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
I've been rearranging my closet, so it's a little messy in here. But
it looks great.
Thanks. I'll keep it this way. Yeah.
How you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing all right. How about you guys?
Not too bad.
Pretty good.
We're great. I'm great on my end.
You guys are talking about what happened at Capitol Hill, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean we're starting there, but I'm gonna start it off with a quote from. Now, this quote was used all during the riots on your lefty channels, whether it be CNN or any of those channels that are just uses a specific narrative. Now, this quote was used quite frequently during the riots in, is it Minneapolis, Kenosha, and other places. So I'm going to put my glasses on, guys, just so I can see. Anyways, the quote is from, it's probably, you know, you're going to say, oh, wow, I can't believe he's quoting from Martin Luther King. Well, I'm going to quote Martin Luther King because they use this quote quite frequently. But he said, a riot is the language of the unheard. Okay, a riot is the language of the unheard. Now that they use that quote, as far as I'm concerned, for a narrative. to make the riots that happened seem okay. It was justified. So, but I'll open it up with either of you guys, Gonzo or Man. Go ahead.
I'll start off. The whole thing, just briefly about how the media is projecting all this right now. The way they're comparing this with the riots over the summer is wrong. It's just factually wrong. The riots going on was an attack on private businesses, personal property. What happened yesterday was a march into a government building towards politicians, not towards a car dealership, not towards someone's business or personal property. And that's the big difference, folks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say that, you know, when you use the word riot, you know, I also tend to think of revolution, because revolutions are kind of a different thing, but you know, they look pretty similar. You have, obviously one's just a little more aggressive, but revolution is kind of the same spirit of things. When you have people believing, whether it's true or not, right? But when you have people believe that the game is rigged, then that's when that spirit comes out in people. And it is very fierce. And you saw that in Russia, you saw that in China. And you know, all different contexts, and you can't equate everything. Like, I know people are trying to compare this one woman that died. They're trying to compare this to George Floyd and other situations, and in my opinion, it's not comparable. It's just not comparable because it was a totally different situation. You had a you know, when we're talking about like George Floyd, right? That was it was like one part accident. You know, it wasn't an intended death. Nobody intended, I would argue, to kill him. But he died. The cause being kind of dubious, but with this, you know, this woman was intentionally shot, which is a little bit different. Maybe I could see it comparable to other cases, and it's the same thing with just this riot. This riot is not the same thing as a Black Lives Matter riot. I thought it was so funny when this thing started. They had these guys running in, and they're not even running in. They're walking in a line through the building, and
in between the velvet ropes.
In between the velvet ropes, and the NBC reporters are just like, "Oh, this is terrifying. This is a threat to everything we've ever known." And I'm just like laughing. I'm like, you guys, like, and they're calling it a riot before anything's even happened. They're calling walking down a hallway a riot, when for this past year we've seen nothing but peaceful protests with burning buildings in the background. It just blows my mind. And the fact that it's so apparent to me it's mind blowing. That's all I can say.
It's incomparable. They're two completely different situations. Mm-hmm. They're two completely different motives.
I don't know if you guys know what I do for work, but I do payroll for actors and actresses, like a payroll clerk, and I'll also do payroll for like people who are like working on the sets of like TV shows and stuff. And so you can imagine like the coworkers I have are pretty liberal. And when it was all happening, I remember my dad like called me into his room because he was watching it on his TV, and he was just like, look at this, is like history in the making. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because I was seeing all these people standing around the Capitol building, and it didn't look like anything was happening. It just looked like they were kind of walking around, like they were just kind of crowding around, is what it seemed like. I know there are instances of like a guy who took his shirt off and he had like a bear hat on or whatever, and he was like behind the podium and doing all that stuff. But as far as like what we were seeing with the riots with George Floyd, it's like completely not comparable at all. But that's something that, you know, you guys already touched on. So,
Well,
you know,
no, it's great. I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, you look at when you went to and I like to go to different news stations and check out, you know, jump on Fox. I like seeing those different opinions. So I remember seeing like one of the reporters, I think it's from CNN, say, you know, he's got cars and gas stations and every other thing burning behind him. And he says, yeah, this is, you know, it's pretty peaceful here. You know, there's people running around with sticks and hatchets and, you know, I mean, you know, come on.
I wanted to actually ask you, because that's like they kind of brought up like a topic point I wanted to ask is, what do you think? So we all kind of see the kind of fishiness going on with the mainstream media as like their response to pretty much everything. It seems as though there's a motive. What do you guys think is the underlying motive that these big corporations and the mainstream media, like, what do you think is their goal in deceiving the public and doing all this stuff? What do you think is their goal?
I think it was just a bunch of pissed off people. And I think it was slightly mixed with a few other people. But I just think people are mad and they had an opportunity to take advantage of going into the Capitol building and doing what they wanted to do. And they did.
Was that the question, Paul? I'm
More, well, the question is like,
it was
what is the conspiracy? That kind of
so like, yeah, like Tony kind of mentioned like how it seems as though people on specific news channels are like, their response to George Floyd's riot was like, nothing's going on here. But then their response to this is horrible and disgusting. And it seems like there's some sort of underlying motive. You could say it's because they're all liberal, but it seems like there's something more sinister going on here. I want to ask, what do you guys think that is?
Well, I'll tell you what I think. I mean, it starts at the top, okay? And now you have your people who own your news stations. These are the guys who have the money. These are the guys who want to keep the money. These are the guys who want the control and want to keep the control. And they want to control the narrative. You have your talking head below, who's making what, 2, 3, 5 million a year, 10 million, 15 million? Do you think that person wants to lose their job? Absolutely not. And have you ever noticed, like, when you look at certain stations, you can follow it all the way down to the local, and all the locals will repeat that same phrase. It'll just go. And it's funny because it's brainwashing. It's programming. You know, to me, that's what it is. And the narrative is control. The control bleeds all into socialism, communism. That's what it's all about. And if you think it's a conspiracy or a conspiracy theory, absolutely not. I mean, you got Biden saying, what's he saying? These first 100 days, you know, dark winter, kept saying it to try to program the zombies. You know, we're going to have a dark winter, 100 days to flatten the curve. That's all. You know, what happened to 14 days to flatten the curve? First of all, we all know there is no curve to flatten. I mean, let's get that right on the plate. So, you know, and the problem is people say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you know.
Get people together and make them think they have a great cause to fight for with beating the virus, and tell them to flatten the curve, and then pin them against each other and say, well, if you don't cooperate, you're part of the problem, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's simple puppetry, like we talked about the other night.
There's no free thinking.
No.
People want to follow. They don't want to lead. Just like all the stuff that went on. You know, my response was when the girl got, when I found out the girl got killed. I mean, I have the video. I sent that to you guys. I mean, it's pretty, that video right there probably was good. I screen capped it really quick because I'm going, that's not going to last long on any social media. It was a black guy that shot a white woman. But has
Was it
anybody?
a black guy?
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
sure looks like it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was wearing a glove or something. Actually, that doesn't even make sense. Why would you be wearing a glove and holding a gun? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I had it kind of small on my phone.
Regardless, now if it was a white cop shooting a black woman, oh my goodness gracious, you know.
What do they call that? Gaslighting. Has anybody ever dealt with what they would label a narcissist?
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
typical behavior. What they do, they create a problem and then they flip it, and somehow it's your fault.
Yeah.
They create the problem and then flip it on you, and then when it backfires, then they're the good guys or they're the victim. You know. So,
But what I was going to say is my response to this is okay. Yes, you look back and you look at the pictures of all your congressmen and senators in the House there where they're all crunched down on the floor. Do you think our forefathers would have done that? They would have been the first one. These are our leaders that were crouched down like scared kittens. These are our leaders. You know, instead, you know what? I'm too important to do anything. I don't want to scuff my manicure, you know. Do you think George Washington and his posse would have been hiding and cowering on the floor, taking pictures of them with the gas masks on them, running down the hallway, looking so fucking scared? I mean, we got a bunch of pussies in our government.
Beta males.
It's true.
Beyond beta.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think
this is the reason why I like Donald Trump. Yes, yeah, he might be a little off every now and then, but he's a people guy. No, I'm not in a fucking cult. Okay? I just wanted the best for our country. Yes, I believe in families. Yes, I believe in marriage. Yes, I believe in good things that are virtuous. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know? I'm not going to say I'm not guilty of some debauchery in my life. But I do believe in the basic things that keep a family together, you know, caring about your fellow man, community, things like that. I mean, you think of the, you know, I know husbands and wives who don't vote the same. That to me, that is just, that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't even understand that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then it's promoted. It's promoted. That type of stuff is promoted to not be united with your husband.
Yeah.
Oh, she should have her own opinion, you know, regardless of her husband. No, you should vote the way your husband votes. Y'all know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tony, I'm right with you, man. Weak males are a huge problem. They're dangerous, and we got them in our government right now. We got them making laws. They're dangerous. Beta males are dangerous.
Well, here's the
They're
thing.
dangerous for men, they're dangerous for women. They're dangerous for everybody.
Yeah. No. Yeah. People underestimate the danger of being a beta male. It's not just self-destructive or anything. It's you affect your community, and you affect a lot more than you think you affect. But I think to go back to Paul's question, like, because I've been thinking about it, and I think there's two parts to it. The first part is that I think part of the conspiracy, obviously you could argue it's power. Power is attractive, and power corrupts, as they say. But obviously that's not the full story, and there's different levels of it. Because more at the top, you might see something like power, but when you start to trickle down and go to the lower and lower ranks, I think what you start to see is good intentions. I think the conspiracy is good intentions, and the good intentions conspiracy comes from the godlessness of this country. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because when you don't believe in God, when you have no faith, you you don't see any resolution to people's problems than to become God. I think that's the ultimate endpoint of that idea. And that's why communism and socialism and those things are very attractive. And that's why they have always been secular ideas. And some would argue that they, come from Christianity as well because the altruism. But I would beg to differ because I do not believe that Christianity is the same type of altruism that is socialism. Or that is because, obviously I think Jesus said, if I don't work, I don't eat. Not very socialist, is it? And so, but, yeah. And so I think these people genuinely have empathy for other people. It's a misplaced, like fallen state sort of empathy. But I think they have an emotional love for other people. And they don't want to see the poor, and they don't want to see sort of the squalor that is all over in the world. But the truth is that you can't really get rid of that squalor. It's always going to be there. And the best thing you can do is give people their liberty so they have the freedom to build their way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just misplaced, and it's partly poor education. There's a lot of reasons why people fall into the trap, but I think secularism is a huge part of it as well.
There's this guy I recommend you guys to go check out whenever you want. His name is Jay Dyer. If you guys have ever heard of him, he's I don't know if he's Eastern Orthodox. I think he's Catholic Orthodox, so he's not Roman Catholic. But he is really good with like metaphysics and like apologetics and stuff. And so he could like argue for the existence of God. He went against this guy named Matt Dillahunty, who is a pretty famous atheist. And so he like went against him, and everyone assumes that Matt Dillahunty would like win the debates because it's like he's a very witty guy. But Jay Dyer like totally annihilated him during the debate, and it was really great to listen to. And if anyone's like struggling with the idea of God or is wanting to kind of because I think that's a big thing, like you said, Gonzo, like the belief of God is essentially like, tell me if I'm wording this wrong, but it seems like you're saying the belief in God is pretty much the first step, or the first, or your disbelief in God is pretty much the first step to chaos, like communism and so on. And it seems like, I agree with that. And it seems like it's really difficult to actually convince everyday people of the existence of God. And I think Jay Dyer, if you guys want to look him up, he puts the argument for God in a way for everyone to like clearly understand it. And it's almost as if you don't need faith anymore. It's just he puts it out there. And so if anyone's interested, I definitely recommend Jay Dyer for sure.
How do you spell the last name?
D-Y-R-E.
D-Y-R-E. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to check them out anytime.
Yeah. I'll check it out after the show. I've got it on my phone. So
yeah, I think well, I'll get back to when that girl died. I mean, as much as I feel for her and her family, I'm conflicted on why she got shot and why she did what she did, which was jump through a broken window. So that's the part that conflicts me. But the part that I think that people have to get used to, that when stuff like this happens, there's going to be blood. There's going to be violence. I mean, you know, it showed how weak our government is.
Mhm.
The way they talked about it, like this violence that wasn't really a violent situation. I mean, it really wasn't that bad, except for her getting shot, you know, of course. But it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't a place I don't think any of us here would have been afraid to be in that crowd.
Yeah, I mean, now you guys may know this, have more information on this, but from what I can tell, she was the only person that died because of the riot.
Mm-hmm.
Now there were other people who died apparently, but it was because of like pre-existing conditions or something. It was kind of weird. Did they just have a heart attack or something? Like,
yeah, I think there was things like that. Yeah, there was 3 other people that died.
yeah, but it wasn't. I don't think. At least they didn't make it sound like it was because of violence or because anything like that.
No, it was medical reasons.
Yeah. And so it's like, and so meanwhile, we have, you know, Black Lives Matter going around and, you know, way more people dying. And that's, you know, that's a peaceful protest. So the language, this whole thing, it's an Orwellian language game. That's what it is. And as far as like the woman dying, it's interesting too, because I'm also conflicted about it, because, and part of it's because I didn't see what happened before all the way, you know.
Let me interrupt you real quick. I'll just tell you why I'm conflicted. This is my confliction, is that, all right, well, to make a point, yeah, sometimes you got to trespass, or, you know, again, I know it's the people's house. I get that. Now, if I was there, and, you know, you can call me a pussy, a wimp, I would have not went in there. No way. I just wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't have been on the steps. I think it would have been more, I want to say appropriate, but to just be there outside overnight.
To just pose a threat, but not actually be a threat.
Well, not even pose a threat. I don't want to say the threat. I don't want to get in. I don't want to get into that language. But I also believe in that when it's time, then it's, in other words, when I talked to Ivan Throne about this, when is violence necessary? At that point in time, I don't think it was necessary. And we don't know all the, you know, underliers and the what do they call it? The false flags, we'll call it. I mean, you know, if other organizations were part, you know, and one of the things too, the way they're dressing up as Trump supporters. What the fuck does that mean? Because so you throw on a "Make America Great Again" hat, and does that mean, is there a certain look to somebody that, you know, that supports Trump? It's just all these little things that they're programming people, and you hear this whatever newscast you listen to. So that's kind of my, you know, I know that people can get caught up in that whole mob mentality. They can get caught up in that whole, trying to think, I think it was Joe Rogan had one guy where he talked about how a mob of people become one. They kind of flow. It becomes a synergy with everybody. So that's, you know, and the thing is too, is that I'm making these assumptions, but it's hard for me because I wasn't there. And so if you're not there and you're just seeing little bits of the news that people are programming you what to see, throw this little clip on there, throw that little clip on there. And if you notice, it's the same thing over and over and over. So I guess I think when it comes to being conflicted about the girl that got killed and then the whole situation, I think the situation was necessary. I think the rally or protest for people wanting to, you got 80 million people that voted. And I don't think it's unreasonable that it should be found out if the vote was legit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just go ahead and make it good and everybody can go about their way. But instead they incite this to make people look bad. Do I think they cheated? Of course. And the people that don't, you're sticking your head in the sand. Rant over.
Yep. Yeah, like my whole family, not my whole family. I mean, there's a few Republicans in my family, but for the most part, they all follow, the same media narratives. It's just the same thing. And even if you talk to them and you show them the evidence. Like I was talking about have you guys seen the video? I think he's a data analyst, or I forget who exactly he is, but he was looking at the Dominion voting machines, and he had the graphs and everything, and he was showing how the machines were partial to Biden, and he was just basically showing that there absolutely is something that needs to be investigated. And so, it's like I can show somebody that, and then maybe they'll say, well, wow, actually, maybe I don't know everything. And then they slide right back into it. They just because what it is the old school marketing technique of social proof. If you have social proof, I mean, that's how you run a successful business. If other people are going to your business and people see that other people are going to your business in high numbers, they're going to want to go in compared to the other business that has less people going in. And because there are all these new news networks that are basically, as far as I'm concerned, run by the same person, the same group of people writing the same scripts. They have the social proof. You could flip to any network, and it looks like that's the whole world. And so if you disagree with that, you look crazy. So that's what it is. That's what it is. It's all a mind game.
Like I was saying earlier, my coworkers, they're all pretty liberal. And I think a lot of it has to do with kind of, there's people who are schizophrenic and they believe in a bunch of conspiracy theories. And then there's people who are so afraid of being conspiracy theorists that they pretty much believe everything that is mainstream. And they go along with whatever is mainstream. And it's like these people, when the whole thing was happening on Capitol Hill, because I'm in a group chat with all my coworkers, they were all saying oh, this is so sad and so scary. And they just don't want to accept the results of the election. And they're just so upset that their person lost and everything. And it's it just seems like everything that comes out of their mouths is so cliche. And it's it comes from pretty much everything that is mainstream. It's so cheap that it's just bizarre how they don't notice how to see out of it. It's just sometimes I wonder
is what you're saying, how to discern anything for themselves.
Yeah, well, it's how. It's just, it's mind-boggling. You kind of sit there and you think either they're really stupid or I'm really, really stupid. They could either I think they're stupid or I'm so dumb that I can't see how dumb I am and I think I'm smarter than them. It's really weird to think about, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend it if nobody has seen it yet. I highly recommend checking out the film. I think it's called Gaslighting. I think it's just called Gaslighting. But that's where the phrase comes from. It's literally this woman is convinced that she is insane because the gaslights keep changing. And that's what it is, that it's an effort to make you go insane.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
No.
And it's like I can't say anything either. Like I was literally thinking today when I was seeing them talk, I was like, I could probably get fired if I give my opinion completely. Like if I say something in the chat, like I was actually going to say something not even hostile. I was literally gonna say we should look and respect everybody's opinion or something like that. It was something along the lines of that. And I was about to send it and I was sitting there like, that makes me sound like a Trump supporter. Like, even though it's not even like remotely a pro-Trump thing to say, it's like, that's not something that they would say. That's not something that they would say. They would say something like, our opinion is right and everyone else's opinion is stupid and we shouldn't respect anybody else's opinion, which is pretty much what they think. But if I say something like, everyone's opinion should be respected and listened to, people automatically assume like you're probably a Republican. And it's like, okay, well.
And you are in California, right? So
Yeah.
that explains a lot right off the bat, of course.
Well, it's the showbiz too. I mean.
And that even explains a lot more.
Yeah. Like I thought you were around LA, right?
I am in LA, yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's in the heart of the beast right there.
I was on a hike with a youth group that I'm a part of, and this old man walked up to us. He didn't even have a mask on, but he walked up to us because none of us were wearing masks. And the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, "Do you guys think that the virus doesn't exist up here?" And like I was just kind of staring. I didn't say anything to him. Everyone else was saying like, "God bless you," and da da da. And I was sitting there like looking at him thinking, as you were hiking, the thought that came into your mind is, let me go up to these group of kids with no masks and start confronting them about the virus. And I'm like, you got to be really sad in order to do something like that. There's something really empty in your life for you to think that that is a eligible activity to embark on. Like, it just seems super strange.
They have absolutely nothing else going on in their life if they do that or say that.
Yeah, you know? Seriously.
Just like I mean, again, I haven't been approached at all for not wearing a mask. Masks aren't the biggest thing here in Florida. Although this one lady in the grocery market, this was quite a few months ago, shaking her head, looking at me, shaking her head, and I could tell you that her thighs were rubbing together. She had more ring dings, yodels, potato chips, donuts, and shit in her cart, and she was easily pushing 250 pounds.
Yeah,
that's one thing I will say that's been really sad to see, is that especially when the groceries were running short and everything around the start of this whole mess, just to see people's shopping carts and to see mothers and what they're feeding their children. And I say mothers because that's what it looked like most of the time. You know, and it's just like just soda, unholy amounts of soda, bread, crackers, candy, whole candy. It's like I rarely go into the candy aisle at all, you know, with the bread aisle. And so it's like, it's just kind of weird to me to see those shelves empty. It's kind of disturbing, you know. But yeah, no, that's the truth. Is I mean
that reference to the lady had nothing to do with her being 250 pounds. It had 100% to do, and I can tell you she wasn't 5'5". Had to do with being how unhealthy she was.
Mm-hmm.
And then says, you know, even shakes her head and you know, hisses at me, you know. And I'm pretty good with that, with handling those situations. It just doesn't it doesn't affect me probably like it does most people. Now, if somebody was to come up to me and confront me like in my face, there would be a major issue. Major.
It seems like the people who are more susceptible to judging others for how they are managing their lives are the type of people who have no control over managing their own life, it seems like. which is bizarre.
Yeah. That's the good intentions thing. That's the socialist idea. It's this philosophy that you can't do anything to help yourself. The government has to do everything. What's even weirder is when you talk to people like I'm not sure if you guys have talked to people like this. Have you ever talked to somebody who's like a free speech advocate, but they're a socialist?
I never.
You know what? It's really funny you say that, because I watched two friends of mine, one who I just unfriended, and I'm not, I don't like, I unfriended you. In fact, I kind of hate that word, and I hate Facebook. But I watched him argue with another friend about, because Donald Trump was taken off of Facebook. And his response to another friend was, oh, well, it's his house. He can do what he wants. You can do. And I'm thinking, when I know this guy, and it's like, dude, all you do is you're like a little fucking bitch, the way you bitch at people on Facebook. You're a man. Act like a fucking man and comment like a fucking man. But it's such a left argument all the time. And I can tell you his life is not what he appears. That's why I call Facebook fake book. You can see it right on my profile. It says fake book is not your life. That's what it says at the top of my profile. And it's true. So it's yes. To answer your question, Gonzo, yes. That is a prime example of what you just asked.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know how you guys reconcile with this, but I'm just like, especially with this exact situation, what happened yesterday, I see a lot of people who just are not aware of what they believe in. And Michael Bunker's been talking about this too recently. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but he makes that meme like, I believe this and now I believe that. I believe this and now I believe the exact opposite. And and it's true. It's just like, how do you point that out to somebody? Can you even point that out to somebody? I guess there's a point where you absolutely can, even if they won't listen. Maybe you should, even if they won't listen. Maybe if you can, along with everybody else, provide enough social proof for the truth, maybe that's how you combat it. I don't know.
What would happen if for 6 months no one had access to the news? No one watched the news. What would happen in 6 months?
It's world peace.
World peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or all of a sudden there'd be a major government takeover.
And you wouldn't even know about it.
Suddenly Putin is the president.
Who do you believe anyways? I mean,
Yeah. I wanted to that kind of brought up another kind of another point. It's like all of us in this panel are kind of convinced that a civil war is pretty close, right? Like it's pretty imminent. Or would you guys say it's like maybe 50-50? Like, what do you guys think about a civil war?
I think considering
what happened likelihood.
Considering what happened yesterday, I think anything's possible. So that's just how I see it. I don't really know. I don't know. I couldn't give you a percentage, but I just don't rule anything out at all.
I don't think there is not a civil war going on right now. But I think people's idea of a civil war is going to vary from person to person. Mm-hmm. But I can't say there is definitely civil unrest in this country, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's go around the panel. We'll start with me. What do you think when you hear civil war? What do you think it is? And I'll start with me. A civil war to me would be when there's bodies in the streets, they're not picking them up. When the local law enforcement just is like, fuck this, we're out of here. Stores are closed. Communications are minimal. And you will find out real fast who your friends are. Mm-hmm. To me, that is the version of a civil war, which people say it can't come. Well, the people that say it can't come are going to be the ones that are the bodies in the streets. So if you're not prepared, it's kind of your own fault at this point.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to listen to those chicken shit politicians that we saw in the news for the past couple of days, crouching behind chairs, putting plastic fucking bags over their heads, taking pictures for Twitter. I mean, come on. You gutless fucking pussies. That's our leaders. So that's my version of a civil war.
Who wants to go next?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll just say, like, I'm going to second that. But maybe just add on to it, the actual experience of being in a civil war. I think it would be like, you'll know, because when you wake up and you think about what your day is going to be, you understand that leaving your house or wherever you're at is going to significantly increase your risk of dying by, gunfire or just whoever the hell is waiting out there. It's almost like a predator-prey sort of situation. You don't know who to trust. Everybody is hunting, and everyone's the target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just
I
pure
kind of,
chaos.
I don't know the right word to say it, but I sort of like, not glamorize it, but what I think back into like the 1800s, where there was like-minded men who were defending something, and they all sit around a fire like deep in the hills somewhere off in a rural area, and they're just plotting the next moves for the day. And they have communities that are off grid, separate kind of thing, and they're defending that and looking for other like-minded troops or brothers in arms or whatever you want to call it. So that's sort of how that's just a fun spin that I put on it, but I know there's nothing fun about it.
Yeah, I think the Civil War, I mean, I understand what you mean, man, but it's like, it needs, like, I think right now what we're experiencing is not necessarily the Civil War, but like you said, just civil unrest in general. And it's leading up to the actual initiation. I think once we start having battles, organized or not, and actually like are developing different armies and so on, then that's when the actual war is happening. That's the start of the war, is when actual, like you said, like groups of people are actually gathering together and building armies and so on, and like fighting. Maybe that's not going to be how this Civil War is, but that's what would have to be, in my eyes, the definitive start of the war, when actual war is being organized. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
A civil war is not going to be, I don't think, like we think it is. To me, a simple definition of a civil war is no one's coming to save you, period. There's your civil war. As soon as you can't pick up your iPhone 12 and call 911, that's a civil war.
The talking stops and the shooting starts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When the talking stops, the shooting starts.
No.
Is that your quote, Gonzo?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't
It's
think of
Ivan Drone.
Is it Ivan? I was like, it's either Ivan. I think Trump said something similar.
Yeah. That's great.
I couldn't remember. I'm like, I know. I thought it was. Yeah. What is it that Trump said? It was like, no. Trump said that when the looting starts, the shooting starts. That's what he said.
The looting starts, the shooting.
I got it confused, but
Sounds familiar.
yeah, I don't know if he came up with that one or if that's That's an old one, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. People are mad.
And I can tell you that that is why, one of the reasons why I voted for Donald Trump, because I don't want a civil war. I want a civil society.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to feel safe when I go somewhere. Not that I don't.
Did you guys watch the movie The Purge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Watched
actually,
one,
you know what?
the
I think
first
that
one.
about that sums it up. Yeah, I've only seen the first one too. I don't know about the rest, but that's what I think of actually. Now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it'd be kind of like that. Except it wouldn't be. I don't know if it wouldn't be government mandated. It'd just be whatever.
You guys don't think like armies would be? You don't think there's groups of people who would be like checking each other's ideologies and being like, okay, you're on our side, or do you think it would just be all out chaos?
There will be cliques. I think undoubtedly. I don't know how that could not happen that way. I think
I like what she says here. As a mother, wife, and a believer, I think we're in a psychological civil war. Have been in a psychological civil war for years. At some point, the mind breaks and the body reacts. If you are not grounded in principles or godly values, I think I could add to that. I think she's right about that. Our minds have been under siege. Our minds have been prepared for this sort of thing for a long time. And yeah, you have to be able to recognize it. Family units and buddy systems, yes, sir.
Yeah, there's going to be, if something like that was to ever happen, there's going to be a lot of people you have to kind of keep an eye on. There's going to there would be people that would bond with you and want to be on your side, or they're afraid of doing anything. They're going, basically what people are going to have to do is going to have to pick a side, period.
We've already picked our side, so
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, but there's a lot of fence walkers out there, fence dwellers,
and there's subdivisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I know I mentioned it before, but like I've just been observing everybody giving their 2 cents on everything, and I've just noticed that every single reaction has been different. Like, you know, Dennis Prager, for example, I think he said, you know, his thoughts on this was that it was a disaster, it shouldn't have happened, end of story. You know, don't quote me on this. I'm not sure. You have to check for yourself. But I think Jesse kind of said something similar. And, you know, I don't know. I think I was actually, my initial reaction to this whole thing is that I don't know. See, on one hand, I want to say that at least there are people who are going to have the balls. If there's a situation where the people need to take back their power, if tyranny rolls in, somebody's got to do something, you know. And so it makes me think that maybe there is enough of that out there. Maybe there is enough. But then on the other hand, you know, I see some impressions of this or that. No, you know, people don't have balls because they saw what happened. What do you guys think? Did we see balls last night or none at all?
I think like one of the biggest things that I have a problem with the Republican Party is the lack of balls. Mm-hmm. And the first thought that came to mind when I saw what was happening at the Capitol Hill was like, finally, we're doing something, you know? Like, mm-hmm. Finally, we're like not just like sitting back and talking about things. We're actually like making a scene, which is, you know, of course, like Tony said, like when things like this happen, violence is inevitable. Bloodshed is inevitable. Something wrong is going to happen, and it's not it's not avoidable. You can have as peaceful of a protest as you want. Something is going to be found that happened during the protest that was wrong. But when I saw it, the first thing that came to mind is like, we're doing something, and instead of just commenting on what the other side is doing, now it's like we're taking action and we're doing something now. And that's kind of what was like nice about it. I was like, it's great to see Republicans gathering and doing a demonstration that's not some sort of Trump rally. It was like an actual like protest, which I thought was cool.
We'll see what happens when more information is released, but I think they got their message across.
Yeah, but it's being spun so bad right now. To the left is spinning it so hard.
People
And
know that. I know that.
yeah, I mean, we know that, but you have to understand, I think too, is that there's people out there that are going down the wrong path, and I'll say, in 30 years, I might not be here. Who knows? So in 30 years, is this the big pivot? Is this the big pivot? Is this where the country takes the big turn?
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. What is the great revolution going to be? Is it going to be the socialists, or is it going to be the conservatives?
The future is patriarchy.
Yeah, is it going to be the patriarchy?
It will be the patriarchy.
Oh, it will be.
It will be
Inevitably.
family. It will be God, the patriarchy, and families. It will be Christian values and where the country was founded on. That's what's going to win. That's what's ultimately going to happen.
It's a very, very appropriate shirt for tonight, Tony.
Yes, good shirt. I was trying to figure out what he was doing back there.
I've talked to my dad about this. I think the only way to turn our country back on the right track is if there was some sort of violent uproar, is what I was thinking. And now I'm not advocating for that. And I really hope and pray that that's not going to be the case, and that's not going to be what has to put our country right in the back on the right track. But the thing is, there are so many people out there who are so diehard that they're willing to actually fight to destroy our values here. And it's like, there may be a point where the choice is quite literally surrender and die or retaliate. And whether that is against a government that's going against us, tyrannical government, or the political opposition actually gathering and retaliating against us. Well, either one, it seems like the path we're heading down is like, we're going to have to then make the choice. Are we going to surrender and die, or are we going to pick up our guns and like have to retaliate against these people? It's like, that's what it seems like at this point. And that's the only way that the country is going to go back into the right direction that we want it to be, is if that was initiated and we won.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. I just, this is your channel. I don't want to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm totally for doing that.
No.
I'm stepping around.
This is what a lot of people should do, is talk things and give your point of view. I think that's important.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny as I was watching the NBC live coverage, how they're like, okay, now we're gonna bring in a Republican to talk about what's going on. I'm like, oh, this will be good. They're like, all right, Mr. Republican, what do you have to say? Oh, this is really un-American. And I'm just like, what? This is un-American. What is America to you? Like, I think this is like the most American thing I've seen come out of America in a while. People actually getting together because they're not being heard
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
in specifically with the government, with the election process, with the system. I thought
I
it was
wonder
very
why
American.
the left channels aren't using the quote that I started at the beginning of the show with. Why aren't they using that now? They use that all fucking summer long. It's a quote from Martin Luther King. Yeah, a riot is the language of the unheard. Why aren't they using it now? I wouldn't call that a riot. I don't think that was a riot.
Mhm.
No.
Call that storming the Capitol.
Yeah.
It got a little bit chaotic, but it was.
It was a protest.
It was
I
a
mean,
That's what I
protest,
saw it as.
peaceful
It was a protest.
protest.
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
what you call it. That wasn't the point. You can call media can call it what they want and cry all they want.
Yeah.
You can't. It was what it was, and
It was a demonstration.
who cares what it's called?
Yeah.
Who cares the political terms of what it's supposed to be called or not called? Who cares about people's feelings anymore? All we care about is truth. That's it. I'm not worried about hurting anybody's feelings. I want to know the truth. I want to tell the truth. That's it.
Yeah.
The news media is nothing but lies. So anything they say is, who cares at this point? You know.
No. I've brought this up before, but you know, I hear little whisperings of, you know, maybe this is the end of the Republican Party. I've seen one of the guys that I follow, Doug TeNapel. Shout out to Doug. He's got a cool channel. He's a comic book artist. He created the video game Earthworm Jim, but he's a Christian conservative guy, and he's been covering a lot of what's going on recently. And he said that actually he is going to basically not register as a Republican anymore. He's just going to be, I don't know, just an independent or not register under a party at all. So,
Well, I'm registered as an independent, and I was going to change it to Republican. I couldn't change it this past year because of the whole restrictions. So it's actually going to stay independent now. I mean,
I'm
I
libertarian.
don't know if some states can you vote in the primaries even if you're not a registered Republican or Democrat. I believe in some states you can. I'm not sure on that, but I know in Florida you can. So I don't vote in any of the primaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely going to be different for every state, I think. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You guys probably know about the Whig Party. Is that going to happen again? Who knows? I mean, it really seems like there isn't a Republican Party. It seems like it's all just Democrat. Or should I say good versus evil? That's what it is.
I like this lady.
Yeah.
One positive is we now know who our enemies are. Clear focus. Time to strategize. Know your lines in the sand and act accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't overreact. Just act accordingly. Act accordingly.
That's why 2020 has been an amazing year, and 2021 I think is going to be even better.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're really it's gonna be zero mystery. You rewind like several years ago. Are these conspiracy theories right? You know, are there elites? Are there really people who don't have our best interest in mind? Is there really corruption in the government? Oh, there is like no question now. There's like zero question almost.
Do you guys remember the Boston Tea Party? I mean, don't remember, but of course I don't remember. I'm not old enough. But does everybody know what that was about and how it worked?
It's been a
Is
long
anybody
time.
really familiar with it? What it was, it had to do with taxation on the tea that came from India. It was
India?
I think it was East India Tea Company. Is that correct?
You'd have to refresh my memory, but
Here's a conspiracy. Who would have thought a shit ton of patriots would dress up as Indians and row out to the boat? If they heard that, they're like, nah, that shit ain't going to happen. Well, it happened. There's a conspiracy. You know, that's a conspiracy. Do you think if that got to the government, do you think they would have said, nah, they're not going to do that? Or that's ridiculous. Just a bunch of Indians out there. So that's like one of the United States' first conspiracies. The Boston.
Yeah. The people have the power. They always have, always will.
Yeah.
And I think people, they starting to realize that, wait a second, we can actually live.
And, it's also the people too that, the people that think we live on a globe Earth, I just don't understand it. People think we live on a spinning ball.
Is the Earth flat, Tony?
Actually, I question it. I think it's more of a cone shape, like an ice cream cone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a trapezoid, but
Okay.
Trapezoid. I don't know. I'm kind of going for like a. I'm going for what the hell what do you even call that? I don't even know what
cylinder.
it's called. It's like it's like a hexagon, but it's in 3 dimensions, and I can't think of what that's called right now. Oh well, but
A triangle.
no, it's a type of sphere, and I can't think of what it's called. But it's like a octagon. Well, yeah, that's 2D though. That's 2D. That's like a stop sign.
Yeah.
We're on a stop sign. That's I'm settling
Pyramid.
with that.
I don't know.
Pyramid. Yeah. Pyramid Earth.
Is there a pole holding us up also or no?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, have you seen? I've seen the conspiracy theories about like all these like space labs and everything are really in the really it's not called atmosphere. It would be called the firmament, being held up by the balloons. And like when these rockets go up, in fact, I thought we were supposed to have a rocket tonight. I don't know if it went off. I didn't hear it. So there's all sorts of conspiracy theories, same thing with the moon landing. Like, trying to think of the guy that supposedly filmed that. Do you know?
Kubrick?
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing.
Let's bring Drew on here. Hey, Drew.
Yeah, Drew.
Hey guys, how's it going?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Good conversation.
Thanks.
Nice.
So, is the Earth flat or round?
Oh no, really? Are we going there?
We went there.
Oh wow. I'll just say one last thing about everything that's going on because I wanted, and maybe you mentioned something about it, but I wanted to say I can't believe how short-sighted people are. All this, like I look at as fake outrage with what happened when you look at $1 to $2 billion in damage over the summer in riots, and now all of a sudden, now it's all about law and order. Where were these people then? Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to say that about.
Well, we're going to continue on that. We just took flat Earth, I think, for a topic.
It was a moment of levity.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory. The magic bullet. The whole thing.
Well, actually, I've been wanting to ask this. And let's just go around on this one. But like, is Mike Pence a traitor? Is Trump a traitor? These are things that are floating around right now.
Traitor? I need more context on that. Why are you asking that?
Because not just because, like Trump's tweet or anything, although Trump did tweet about it and he was like, Mike Pence didn't do what he could have done to.
Let's start with Pence. Let's start with Pence and go around the. I'll start. At this point, traitor to me is a little harsh. Coward is more fitting. Gonzo?
Yeah, here I'm having some technical issues, but I'm okay. Yeah, I don't think he is. Maybe he's not a. See, I don't know. I don't know if if he is so much of a traitor, if he is just naive. I don't know. I really just don't know where his decision came from, and so I don't know. I don't know. But definitely was not expecting that per se. So I don't know. He could be, but yeah, maybe it is a harsh word, but I don't know. That's the thing, is I just don't know.
I do know he's a politician.
Yeah, yeah.
I always thought they were a weird match. I'm thinking with the way their demeanor between those two individuals, and Pence strikes me as a guy that behind the scenes is sitting there saying, "You got to be kidding! Did he just say that?" I just thought that was the strangest match between those two very different individuals with, two very different ways to behave, whether in the limelight or not. Just an odd mix,
Yeah, I'm not. I'm still kind of like confused by the question, because I'm thinking, like, was Pence supposed to do something, or did he do something that is making people question his stance with the party? Or
Yeah, he certified the election.
oh, okay.
You got 80 million people that question the election. How about just give these people some sort of closure, a little bit of closure? How about, from what I understand, all the states that, especially the swing states, their legislatures said yes, give the votes back and we'll check them out. That's what they voted on it. Yes, there was irregularities. There was a lot of issues. So let's check it out. Let's make people happy. Let's make the people happy. It's if people don't open their eyes right now and see it's not your government anymore, it's not. They don't work for you.
Mm-mm.
Again, I'll go back to those fuckers were cowering behind chairs, putting plastic bags over their face, taking pictures for Twitter. Look at me, I'm scared. I got a plastic bag on my head.
That's where I saw somebody put together a great meme talking about these are the people that vote to send your sons and daughters to war.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Pelosi.
I don't know about traitor. I think, you know what, don't you think, Tony, I won't disagree with you, but I think there's probably, I'm sure, in his allies, between Pence and his allies, they're exhausted. They're tired. They don't have any steam left. I think they fought as long as they're done.
I said coward at this point, not traitor.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, actually, I should point out too. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but there is he did that elbow bump with Nancy Pelosi, and
Gross.
Yeah, but it was like, ooh, yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. Is he just doing it because he's a sellout? I don't fucking know.
He's doing it because it's easier to do that than to oppose. That's why he's doing it. Personally, there's nothing to do about him. There's nothing to do about the greatness of this country, the people, or anything. It has everything to do with you don't want to stir the pot. It's just easier just to go along with it than it would be the other way around. And Pelosi, she's a disaster. She should have stayed a housewife. She's done nothing. Yeah, of course she is. Yeah, she's done nothing but destroy things since she's been in power. And she should have stayed a housewife. And she's miserable. She's a miserable bitch.
That's pure evil right there.
Yeah.
Pure evil.
That's the, like, what you said was a good point. It's like, I remember I was at my sister's apartment, and she's not Republican, but she doesn't seem necessarily Democrat either. She just kind of seems like you said, man, it just seems like there's people out there who kind of just go with the flow of the mainstream. And it's like, I remember I was trying to make a point about how it's very peculiar how during the coronavirus, you go on Instagram and all their emojis are of like stay inside, wear masks, and like, you know, wash your hands and all of this. But there's nothing saying like don't wear a mask if you don't want to or anything like that. There's nothing kind of opposing. There's only like or like during the what's it called? The Floyd riots, there was a bunch of emojis of like, you know, stand up for black rights and black is beautiful and all of this. And it seems like it was very pro one-sided. And it's like that goes along for pretty much every big corporation and every big social corporation. And I was just making that point of like, don't you guys think that's peculiar? And their response is like, no, it's just like people will do what they think is right. And that's what the corporations are going to do. Like, they just think it's correct to go along with that. And it's like, it just kind of seems weird, like how no one could see the kind of bizarreness in that whole thing of like, it's so obvious that corporations are one-sided and the power is one-sided.
Don't forget when the wind blew right one day in March, Dr. Fauci said, don't wear a mask. They do not help.
Follow the science.
Yeah, he was anti-masker at one point.
Yeah.
I do want to say goodnight. I know I'm cutting it earlier, but
Right.
I did promise some friends I would hang out with them tonight, and I have to get ready for that. So, but it was really awesome popping in. Are you going to be doing your Saturday Night Live tomorrow?
Yes, we will. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm pretty sure.
We always have some good guests coming on. Last week we had Steve the Dean and Coach EO pop on for a couple hours. It was a riot. Gonzo, you missed it.
I did. Well, I was listening. It was amazing.
Okay.
I loved it.
And then the week before, we had the producer of Jesse Lee Peterson's show, Nick Gonzalez, come on for about 2.5 hours. So
Another good one.
I just shoot out a bunch of invitations Saturday during the day, and you never know who we get. So, but
I wanted to ask real quick before I leave. You guys know what's his name? Stefan Molyneux. He's
Oh yeah.
was he the creator of the 21 convention, or he was just one of the heads at the 21 convention?
Stefan Molyneux?
Yeah.
He was a speaker, that's all.
He was just a speaker? Okay, because I saw him on the cover of one of the banners for the 21 convention. I was thinking, like, did he
was a headliner speaker is what he was.
Okay.
Yeah. And hopefully, Stefan, if you're watching, you're going to come on here shortly. He agreed to come on with us. So if you guys...
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So,
I want to ask him about a debate I saw him in.
Which one was it?
It was with Jay Dyer and Stefan, and it was really good. They were talking about presuppositions and metaphysics and stuff like that, which I thought was awesome. So
well, and so that's the guy. You know what? Then you're gonna love the watch the 2 interviews with Stefan and Jesse Lee Peterson. Search those. I think they're both on the Fallen State or maybe on Jesse's show. I'm not sure.
I think one of them might be.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on Fallen State or if it's just. I think it's just. I'm not sure. But
yeah, I think what happened was he did the one show with him on the Fallen State, and then I think his father died a couple weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so then Jesse had him back on the radio show after that. Yeah.
Yeah, what's amazing is that Jesse had Stefan thinking. He had him kind of like. Yeah. Just asking the simplest questions, and the way Jesse kind of phrases things and frames things, you have to have a pretty good I mean, I have so much respect for Stefan. I just do. I just again, I'd love to have him on. So but Paul, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great seeing everybody. take care, and I'll probably see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Take care, buddy.
All right,
Have
Paul.
a good
Thanks
night.
for coming, man. See you.
Peace.
Cool.
All right.
Oh,
Well, we still got Nancy's the demon in the flesh.
yeah. Actually, shout out to Tony513. I've been enjoying Tony's deepest thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, I like it.
Yeah, me too.
I like his rhymes.
Yes.
Tony513. Anybody watching, go to Tony513's channel. He had one the other night about a pipe, and I think it's still up there. Yeah.
Oh, Savinelli, or was it the
No, it was the last one about a pipe.
what a pipe means to me?
Yeah, that was a good one. That was
Yeah.
a good one. So
Yeah, they're nice, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's some good stuff, man. I think that I like that kind of thing, man. I just think it's that's quality. That was fun. It's fun to watch. So
I like seeing creativity in other people.
yeah.
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 Well, let's get back to topic. And Tony513, if you want to jump on, man, just click that link. I'll pop it in the live chat here. We're not going to go that much longer tonight. I've got to get up fairly early in the morning. Anybody wants to join in, there's a live link. Anybody watching, feel free to jump in. But anyways, on the whole climate of what's going on today, I think people have to get used to, I think they got to toughen up, man. Thicken their skin, man. Too many thin-skinned people.
A lot of selective outrage.
Yeah.
It's really weird, right? Because you remember the whole, I guess the outcry about violence in video games and that sort of thing. I guess maybe that's still going on, but it's like, and there's kind of this general complaint that our media and our entertainment is getting more and more violent, and there's just so much violence now, and people are getting desensitized. But at the same time, it's like, what? There's just such weakness. There's such frailty when it comes to these real heavy things. So that makes me think that the video games aren't really doing much of anything.
So I think people think that, video games are kind of getting people. Let me bring in Tony here. Hey, Tone, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good to see you, man.
You too, man. How you guys been doing?
Oh, we're doing good, man. Glad you're in the chat and glad you're live.
thanks,
Gonzo
man.
was just saying about how video games might be affecting people, getting kids, I guess it would be used to violence and used to killing, but I don't think sitting on your controller is the same thing as arming up a weapon that's going to, kick back at you, or seeing blood in the streets, or seeing somebody's arm cut off or something like that. I don't think it's the same.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know the source, but there's been quite a few studies done on this, and I'm sure you can find the sources out there. But that was the thought for many, many years. That was that video games, when it's I think a lot of it's been debunked. I think the bigger problem is living the life through social media, whatever platform that's on, and having no outlet for your anger and letting it build up, and keyboard warring up every day. And I think there's a show, I don't know if you guys have seen it, Social Dilemma. Take time to watch it. I mean, it dives. There's some technical. It glosses over some things, and I'm in the IT world, so there's some things I looked at it and kind of thought, okay, maybe. But the general concept is pretty accurate, and what it does to people, and your attitude, and your feelings, and some of the addictive traits it can breed in people. It's worth a watch. It may change. I know when I got done with it, I eliminated all apps off any mobile device that I had. So if I'm going to log into something and look at something, I got to sit down, you know, in my office and log into it. And there's something to it. It's worth checking out. It's on Netflix, I believe.
Why didn't you just get a VPN?
Yeah. Insert.
Wouldn't that have been easier?
Protect your data with ExpressVPN.
Wait, there's more. There's VPN Plus.
Yeah.
Protect all your mobile devices and your desktop browsing today.
So Tony, I got to ask Tony 513. You're new on the panel tonight. So, what's your take on what's going on?
Oh man, it's crazy, right? Like seeing it all unfold like it is. Like, it makes sense though. I mean, that's how I think of it. I've seen them doing what they're doing and stuff. Like, it's been like a long time coming, it seems like, and just kind of seeing just how much further, you know, it's going to go for more people to want to get out there and do more, you know, as far as like fight for their rights and things that they believe in, like their values, you know, stuff of that. But I think it's going to get ready to come down to anyway.
Yeah, I think more is going to unfold, like you said. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 All I see gaming do is occupy the mind with fantasy to avoid reality. I'll agree with you. In moderation, I don't see the problem, but moderation is not a strength these days. That's I can conform.
Yeah.
Very, very wise words, yes. Well,
I mean, you know what? It's just one of the words you said is get out there and fight. As soon as people hear that, now if you know people are getting out to fight because you know all the shit we've seen this past summer, oh, it's okay. But to actually go out and fight for something that's good, something that's honorable, something that's virtuous. Oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to mess with the government with that. You don't, you know, let us take care of it. So fighting is, again, that's kind of cherry picked. That
all the propaganda is going to blow up in their face. It's going to backfire. It's already backfired on the media.
How do you say that? I'm going to say they're doing pretty good right now.
Yeah, but they're also, people are starting to see that things aren't adding up just by simply watching the news, and some people are starting to draw their own ideas, like the ones that actually give a shit, that are not just, you know, zombies. And so I do think slowly but surely people are going to start seeing lies. They're seeing the lies. They're seeing the conflicts. They're seeing the double standards. They're seeing a lot of this. I think people are.
Well, everybody, just so you know, man is our optimist on the panel.
Yeah, I mean, I think
For
I
sure.
don't see it from where I'm coming from. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's maybe where you live, but I tell you what, in the area I'm in, it's more like, all right, keep my head down for 4 years, make money, focus, and hopefully celebrate in 4 years. Fingers crossed.
So what you're telling me is you don't wear a MAGA hat when you go to the grocery market?
Not in Dane County, Wisconsin. I don't think I'd be on this call. I'd be, never mind. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't. You know what's crazy is a simple hat like that can trigger so many people.
Yeah.
a color. A color. Have you guys heard of color harassment? That's the thing. There's this thing called oh no, this is gonna get kind of weird, but there's a thing called gang stalking, which you guys may have heard of. But it's not really. It's not. I guess it's kind of part conspiracy theory, part schizophrenia. But it's like this condition where people believe they are constantly being spied on and being stalked by a group of people. And one of the things that can happen is they say that they think these other people are always like driving red cars, or they always wear a certain type of hat, or they're wearing, you know, they always see them at the supermarket or something. You know, it's like this. It's this basically paranoid schizophrenia. That's kind of what it is.
black
Yeah,
helicopters or black helicopters are following me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, so they basically deemed like red cars as being a type of color harassment. These gang stalkers use color harassment to drive you insane. That just reminded me of that.
Drive more red cars then.
Boy, do I miss the good old days.
Oh.
What if somebody says the good old days to you? I'll start with me. To me, the good old days are growing up, family around, family picnics, men acting like men, women acting like women, kids being kids, fighting, laughing. Those are the good old days.
And now you got to think about there's enough young people that wouldn't know what you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Did you hear John Boston talking about a little bit of his background? How he would say the men would get together and make wine, and the women would get together, and they had their moments of men socializing and women socializing. That sort of was nice to hear.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way our family was,
Mm-hmm.
especially with, grandparents. And I remember going to my grandfather's, and me and my brothers would go in with my grandfather, and we would watch wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
And then mom and grandma would be in the kitchen cooking. So those were the good old days.
We're gonna bring them good old days back, fellas. Promise you, they're coming back.
I think
Family values, godly Christian values will be a thing in this country again. And they still exist. You just don't hear about them.
Yeah. That doesn't get eyeballs.
No.
Media. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, reading perverted stories by transvestites to little kids at a library, that gets eyes, but that's normal.
Yeah.
That's bold. That's brave. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird, because I agree with everything you guys just said, but I also, when I think of good old days, I'm not sure if you guys have observed this, but I've noticed that, especially with younger people, there is almost this nostalgia for this time that these people haven't experienced. Like, people aren't experiencing the good old days. They never experienced the good old days, but they listen to this retro style music, and there's this huge thing about retro style art, retro style everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, this makes me nostalgic for a time that I've never experienced or something like that. But it's big, that retro feeling. And I just wonder, what is that? What is the mechanism of that? Why are we seeing this?
Why do we see retro?
Because we're not happy with the times. They're not happy with the times they're living in now.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. But I mean, it's just a very weird way. It's a very weird way to manage that. Right?
Well, you can look at it like this. Why do people enjoy living in the past? Why do people long for the past? Why do people long for the good old days?
Because they were good.
Right.
They were
The good old days. But as far as retro doesn't always, right? Retro doesn't always mean just back a few years. Retro could be like a 50s style kitchen. It's kind of in remodeling that I do. All these all these different things go in and out and in and out. Like when people, you know, in the past couple of years, they've been putting metallic tile like on their backsplashes and things like that. And I'm like, wow, there's a fad right there. That's not going to be something that's going to look cool in a few years.
Tony, do you have to deal a lot with people wanting to preserve some like 50s kitchens and things like that? Do you ever deal with that?
I'm preserving mine for as long as it can be.
Yeah.
I mean, my cabinets are original 1956, all pine. It's the same pine that's behind me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've ripped out a lot of old things that were in great condition. It's crazy. Bathrooms were almost perfect.
Like the old pink and green tile bathrooms.
Green tile, yeah, or yellow. You know, I mean, my bathroom in the house, I don't use that often. I have, you know, an full outdoor bathroom shower, but it's that yellow tile with a green border. Yeah. It's actually pretty nice looking.
That's what I grew up with, yellow tile, black border around, and the whole bathroom, walls, floor, everything.
Yeah, shag carpet.
That's a different era. That's a little later. That's 70s.
That's 70s shag carpet.
We grew up and had these shower walls that was almost like what do they call it? Almost like tie dye. It was swirls, but it was white swirls on like a blue background.
Oh, that's cultured marble.
Yeah.
It's cultured marble. Yeah.
That's what it was.
It's basically what cultured marble is. It's ground up marble and resin.
Okay.
It's ground up marble, basically fine marble that's ground up and resin to make cultured marble. And that's
like
Sorry?
Is that like an 80s trend?
No, people still use cultured marble, you know.
A lot of counters.
Not that often, but it's still used occasionally. Yeah. You know, now people tend to, I think, more granite, silestone, which is what do you call it? Quartz. So, but you know, there's all those trends in home remodeling. Some things just won't last the test of time, and some things will. You know, I remember at a time when orange Formica countertops were like the biggest thing. Orange, yeah, like bright orange.
Wow.
So, but a lot of that retro stuff. I mean, you know, it's funny, you guys. We're talking about this because, you know, unless I sell my house soon, if not within the next couple of years, I'll be ripping out my bathroom and my kitchen. But I'm going full retro going straight 50s with the kitchen and straight 50s with the bathroom.
Absolutely, that's awesome.
You know, just very, very simple. So.
Oh, it's interesting how trends like that happen. I noticed that a lot with book covers and stuff because you know, it's a real, I don't know, it's a real trip for me because I like to look at you know, like old book covers and things like that, and I'm around books all the time, but I look at if I look at it like a scan from a book, occasionally I'll be like, wow, like this book looks really old. I wonder when this was printed. Oh wait, this was like a 2000s book. And now I look at it and I look at books and I'm like, yeah, that was an early 2000s book. And you don't see it right then when you're in the moment.
This is sort of like my grandpa had a bunch of books, religious books with this type of layout, and it's from the 80s.
Very old school, yeah.
Yeah, the colors too look 80s, yeah.
Yeah, and this is sort of like in the middle. This is sort of in the middle of like modern and vintage. Obviously, this is from the 80s.
Yeah, it's that typeface that gives it away.
You guys remember this book? I think we talked about it. I still have it here right next to me. This old book that a friend gave.
Yeah.
It's a cyclopedia.
Encyclopedia of Practical Quotations.
Was that from the 40s or 50s?
I believe it was from the 50s. I was looking at the printing on it, but I think it is from the 50s. Yeah, this looks like copyright 1922, 1927, and 1940, and it looks like this copy is 1964. So,
Yeah.
but all you do is pick out a topic. We'll pick out a topic real quick. One quick quote from the encyclopedia, and we're in faith. I'm just going to go ahead and, what do? You ever done that in the Bible where you just, I'm going to pick out a Bible verse?
Yeah.
Speak to me, Lord. All right. Well, here it is. This is what I picked out. It says, faith and unfaith can never be equal powers. Unfaith is aught, is want of faith in all. And that is from Tennyson.
Lord Tennyson.
I saw, man, the Ram Dass book.
Yeah.
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Here's an older one here.
The book.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. I don't think I've actually properly read Alan Watts. I've heard his lectures.
Wasn't he in the Rolling Stones, Alan Watts?
Yeah.
That's Charlie Watts.
Sorry.
No, he's an interesting guy. You know, he went to, what do they call it, preschool, or I don't know the right name for that, but he went to be a priest. He's from England. Then he traveled to Japan and got twisted up in the Eastern philosophy, and come up with his own writings, his own speeches. I think he was a very heavy-hearted kind of guy. I think he had some struggles in his personal life, but the guy is will blow your mind. Take it with a grain of salt, though. Take it just for fun, you know. If you do come across Alan Watts' work, it's all for fun.
Yeah, I thought he had it's probably one of the best arguments against nihilism I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to that one because I thought that was really solid. But yeah, he was spot on with that. But yeah, I haven't read him. He's very, very interesting guy, for sure.
Yeah, he is.
Would you guys recognize this? I have been hunting because there was years and years ago. I ended up going down, the weird part of YouTube. I ended up in the weird part of YouTube, and I was listening to these weird, like, I don't know what they were. They must have been like philosophy, metaphysical audiobooks that people had just like uploaded on the fringes. And I remembered listening to this short clip, and it must have been from an audiobook of something. But it always stuck with me because it was really profound. But this guy was like a philosopher, and he's like, he's like, you have to remind yourself of death constantly. Like, keep poison in your pocket at all times and contemplate taking it, and like this kind of thing. And like, have lunch sitting on top of your grave. Like, get your grave planned out and then sit on top of it and have lunch there every day and keep reminders around you all the time of your mortality.
It sounds like a self-hating liberal.
Yeah.
And I cannot find this recording anywhere. I have been looking for years and I cannot figure out who said that. But the guy who said, eat your lunch on your grave, who said that? I have no idea. If anybody knows, reach out.
Wow, I'm going to name this episode "Eat Your Lunch on Your Grave."
Yeah.
What a guy, huh?
Yeah.
What a guy.
It was the weird part of YouTube, that's for sure. So.
He sounds like those and nothing against Christianity, but the weak side of Christianity, the people that talk about, oh, we have to be so humble, and they like try to lower themselves to be humble and contemplate death, like you were saying,
Isn't the contemplating death thing? Isn't that kind of a? I don't know a lot about Stoic philosophy, but isn't that kind of a Stoicism sort of thing?
Probably like an extreme stoicism, yeah.
Some Buddhism, yeah.
I mean, what are you going to contemplate on your death? How you're going to die, when you're going to die, where you're going to die?
I think it's more along the lines of like,
While
I
you're
have,
eating lunch.
I have to live so carefully because at any moment I could eat this poison in my pocket.
While sitting on my grave eating lunch.
Right.
Well, there's an idea. There's a great selling idea. Pocket poison. Pocketpoison.com.
Doesn't seep through your pants into your leg.
You might get some people accidentally end up on that page searching for something else.
Having a rough life? Life got you down? Get pocket poison. $19.99. An order today. No extra charge. We're going to send you two.
It's
Separate shipping and handling, of course.
Buy one, get one free.
Pocket poison is best with a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there'll be trends, pocket poison challenge, and
It's non-GMO, gluten-free,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
100%
Organic.
contains vitamin death. That's what it is.
Vitamin Now, if
Vitamin
I go
arsenic.
online next month and see pocket poison, I'm going to be pissed.
I already registered the URL. Too late.
Did you really? Darn it. He's on GoDaddy on his phone. Pocket poison. I wonder if there is. I'm just curious. You're our fact checker. Check GoDaddy and see if is there pocketpoison.com.
It's available.
It's available.
Is it available?
I've already checked.
Nobody wants to know if you can smoke it.
I wonder if you end up on a list for registering that domain. Pocket poison. That'd also be a good name for like a booklet publishing business. If you write horror novels, little pocket novels. But yeah, no, that dude, I don't know. That dude was on. He was freaking. I don't know what his deal was, but he was serious
He was
about
on
that.
a self-deprecating. He was on a self-deprecating mindset, if there ever was one.
Yeah, yeah. But people were like, "This guy is brilliant. This guy is amazing." But that always stuck with me. It was so like powerful. I ended up like, like not powerful in that I believe it, but just like the imagery is just stuck with me. I've heard of digging your grave with a fork. It's a kind of grisly philosophy. Yeah, there was another guy. I forget his name, but he was another like drunk philosopher guy, and I can't remember his name right now. But he's known as like the philosopher that always sides with the devil. I can't remember his name right now. He's a Romanian guy. He was a Romanian guy, and he literally tells a story of how he was sitting in a park. And he sees a pregnant woman walking by, and he refers to her in his writing as a corpse bearer. I'm like, what? These guys were sad, man. Wow. Philosophers are sad people. They really are.
I think being a philosopher, you've got to, again, you're dealing with I think a real philosopher has to deal with reality and parts that aren't reality.
Yeah.
In other words, I think when you're a philosopher, there's endless rabbit holes. Doesn't matter what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, the rabbit hole we're in tonight is about, the situation, what's going on. I'm going to start with me. I'm going to try to give people some positivity about what's going on in the world right now. And I think the main thing is stick to good beliefs. That's for sure. If you're not Christian, become a Christian. Don't let your feelings rule you. That's for sure. Don't let your emotions rule you. Um, to me, this is about as emotional as I get. And I think there's a little bit of, I think tonight I'm a little bit angry. And I know anger is feminine. I've heard it all before. But I do have a little bit of, I don't want to call it anger. I'll call it angst in me. A little bit of anxiousness. But I think that's normal. So, especially if you have a family, and be strong for your family. Be strong for your family. Don't show fear.
Mm-hmm.
Don't show fear to your kids. Don't show fear to your wife. Don't show fear to anyone. Be strong. Be tough. It's okay to be tough. It's okay to be a man. It's okay to be a woman. If you're a woman watching this, it's okay to reach out to a man. That's nothing wrong with that. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Gonzo?
That was good. Yeah. As far as positivity for everything that's happened, I think, you know, when you feel that angst, because, you know, I've felt that too. And there's plenty of occasions where it's going to happen, where you're going to feel something rising up inside you a little bit. And that's God revealing to you that, hey, look at that. There's something there. And it's when you don't see that you're angry. It's when you don't see that whatever it may be rising up. That's when it's really dangerous. And that's why you see people, like, when they get angry, they go off and they just lose it. And so that's what stops you from going that direction, is you can see it within yourself that it's that anger, and it's coming from inside you. So this is a year, and it's going to be a year of revealing for sure. You know, it's definitely not over. I know there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of Republicans especially, who are going to be, you know, feeling down right now about what's going on. And it's very easy to feel down about it. I understand that. But personally, I have faith that the right thing is going to happen. You know, that is the optimism inside me that says, you know, the right thing is going to happen. And hey, the right thing may end up being very tough. We've had easy times, and now we're getting into the hard times where, you know, where the strong men are going to come out of it. And these times are going to build the strong men. That's what it is. So that's the way I would look at it, is that going through this next year and forward, no matter what happens, it's going to be revealing things about yourself that you didn't realize. And
You know,
that is a blessing.
That was great what you said about doing the right thing isn't always easy. You know, because I think people tend to think that, oh, if I just do the right thing, it's going to be easy. No, doing the right thing might be standing up. It might be doing the right thing might be a revolution or a revolt. Doing the right thing isn't easy, man. You put that perfect. I love that. Maybe I'll name this episode "Doing the Right Thing Isn't Easy." So instead of pocket poison or whatever else we were going to name. I'm going to go to Tony 513, man. So something, you know on your channel you always have a lot of good tidbits. So give us a good tidbit. If you want to rhyme it out, rhyme it out.
Oh man, I have to write it down if I did that. Yeah, I would say definitely, yeah, be cool, calm, collected, and expect the unexpected. You know, I mean, that's the best way you can do it. You know, be prepared. people want to know like the best way of being prepared on that, I would say definitely if you don't carry, I would say get into like trying to carry, get you like the license to carry. Just prepare yourself because just don't know what's going to come between now and this time, say next year. And I got to agree with what he was saying there, Chris. Yeah, he's talking about, sometimes, doing the right thing may not be easy, but that may just be the one thing that when it comes down to it, that could between like the choice between maybe even like life and death if it came down to it. You just don't know. I would say definitely the main thing. Yeah, just be cool, calm, collected. Expect the unexpected.
Well, maybe I'll name that this episode "Be Cool, Calm, Collected, and Expect the Unexpected." I like that.
And check out Pocket Poison.
Yeah. .com.
If all else fails, take the Pocket Poison.
Sponsored to you by a nameless philosopher.
Let's go to Drew next. I'm going to go to Man last because he's always positive. So
I'm going to try to be positive. Well, Tony, you kind of took my. I was going to say be prepared, and I'm an Eagle Scout, so that's my line. No, but seriously, I mean, really, there's no other time when we have so many resources also at our disposal. There's so many opportunities out there to, whether it's learning a skill or, for me, I've spent some time recently looking at what financially this means. And, with policies that are going to change, that we know are going to change, be prepared for it, plan for it. I own a small business, so I mean that's really what I have to do in being responsible, being prepared for what's going to happen. I see years of creative accounting ahead of me. Keep the government out of my pocket. Of course, always legal, but you definitely have to be aware with what's going to change. And actually, Dave Ramsey, whether you believe his philosophies or not on finance, did a completely nonpartisan blog. Anybody can read it and objectively read it and know what's coming, and it's pretty interesting. And it's I would say just be prepared. We'll make it through it. We're strong, and just gotta be ready for everything.
All right, and then we're going to go to Man, and we're going to put him on the big screen because I want some. I like when Gene talks, so I want him to give everybody a good positive shout out because he always, and I mean this with the most respect, you always do have a very positive outlook. You do find the best in things. So, and that's why I think it's important. So let her rip, man.
All right, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Yesterday, I accidentally swallowed some food coloring. The doctor says I'm okay, but I feel like I died a little inside. That's all I had to say.
Ooh.
And let's get up a couple comments here real quick. There's nothing wrong with righteous anger. There's nothing wrong acting on righteous anger. The only thing is how do most gauge what is righteous if not based in biblical principles? That's cool. So did you guys talk about the siege of the Capitol building?
Yeah,
Yes.
2 hours ago.
Yes, we did.
Next comment. We got to end on a positive note.
Yeah. No, that's it's funny. I look at the way it's worded, the siege. It's just I like everybody's viewpoint. I think that's really cool. The way everybody words things, I think, is so different. I think that's part of what these podcasts are about is getting people's opinions. Now, I am 100% about free speech, but this is my channel, so it is kind of a dictatorship here, just so people know. And the only reason I say that jokingly is because I like other people's opinions, thoughts, but I'm kind of tough on negativity and just fuckery, I guess is the other word. So, but appreciate that, SH. It was Siege, no other way to say it. Yeah, appreciate it, man. That's cool. Sorry, I'm so behind on responding. I'm baking and chatting at the same time. Nice.
That is the best way.
Fantastic. That's awesome. That's a woman. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love how every time there's a woman that talks about doing something feminine and womanly, it always brings a smile to every guy's face in the room.
Funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I eat it up. I love it.
Yep.
That's the word baking. I'm baking.
The word baking. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to not hear like while I'm listening to this, I'm working on getting my 5th college degree.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You know?
Like, we're all looking around kind of like.
And feeding my cats.
But can you bake? We're all like, but can you bake though? You know? Can you cook though?
Well, I think we're going to wrap this up. Any of you guys want to stay on for a quick after party? We have an after party after this stream. I wish everybody else could join our after party because it's usually pretty good, but I can't stream that. So
it's a pocket poison good time.
Yeah. Mr. Puffball and Stupid Hat. Those are cat names. Yeah, that's great. But I'm going to go around real quick, and we got another comment from Earl's daughter. She said, "I'm a mother of 6. Wow. Of
That's
course
amazing.
I can cook. Thanks, guys. Enjoyed." Wow. Well, thank you. Come back and join us on Saturday night for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoy her comments a lot.
Yeah, great comments. Really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And tell your friends about it too. Earl's daughter. Tell Frank's daughter, Bill's daughter, John's daughter, and every other daughter. So, and we appreciate you for sure. But I want to let everybody know that we do this on Saturday night starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go till we go. We have what we call at about 11:30. We call it After Dark. We do Saturday night live stream, but Saturday night at about 11:30 becomes After Dark. And the reason we call it After Dark because we get some crazies on. I let them on the stream at least for a nanosecond. So if somebody has, we do have one guy that comes on, JC. He's been a great addition to the show. I really enjoy his take on things, and his commentary. I think is actually brilliant. So, but anybody out there, you can find me on Instagram, Parler, and Twitter at T21Surfer. Of course, subscribe to my channel, which is Tony Bruno, T21 Surfer, or T21 Surfer, Tony Bruno. That's T, number 2, the number 1, Surfer, like surfing. So that's how you can find me. Gonzo?
Yeah, you can find me at Gonzo School on YouTube and gonzoschool.com. And you can find every, like, my art stuff and my writing and all that. It's midnightauthor.com. That'll do it. Come check it out.
Man?
Yeah, you can find me at Mantidote as on the screen on the Instagram, like Antidote. I always like to throw that in there. And you can find me on YouTube at Primal Man. We are having a guest show tomorrow night at 7 p.m. with Central Time, 7 p.m. with Central Time with Smoke and Lid. If you like cigars, if you like pipes, if you like tobacco, if you like being a free man, check us out. I think you'll enjoy the show for a little while.
Tony?
Yeah, you can find me actually here on YouTube. just underneath my screen name there, Tony513. I have no other social media, so it's like my mainstay right here. So, yeah.
And then Drew.
Baumpower, Baumpower on Instagram, and Drew Baumpower on Parler.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you other four here in the after party in about 2 seconds. Everybody else, I appreciate you tuning in, and come and check out everybody's channel. Check us out Saturday night. That's when we blow up. Tonight's kind of a chill session. So normally we have a special guest on Thursday. I didn't get a chance to get a special guest tonight, but we always have special guests on Saturdays. So, but come back to this channel, subscribe, like, share, do all that. Check all the other guys out, and we will see you guys later. Have a good evening. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Take it easy.